These are 25 of the Simpsons' greatest predictions ranked by accuracy, beginning at the F tier with Diddy. I'm not kidding when I say that. And his episode, along with the others in the F tier, are here for being misconceptions. So this two-parter began as a clear nod to The Great Gatsby, not only through the events of the episode, but also the presentation and, well, the title. Mr. Burns looks back on the days when he threw his own Diddy parties, and is inspired to throw a new one, except that it blows and everyone leaves. Looking across the water, they see a way cooler party popping off, so they decide to check it out. It's got a hip-hop vibe with everyone dressed in white, and a host of high status. Well, after it's revealed that he's a music producer among all the other spot-on references, yes, this episode literally involves Diddy at a Diddy party. But this whole thing isn't a prediction. The episode dropped in 2017, but Diddy's parties had their peak from 1998 to 2009. This episode was merely inspired by Diddy. Even the Gatsby connection was an already established thought in the public consciousness before the episode released. And while we're at it, this popular photo of Simpsons Diddy was circulating the internet as another prediction moment. The resemblance is there, except the image is not even real. It's just an AI creation. Another huge misconception is the whole Trump presidency prediction. There's some truth to it, and we'll get to that later, but much of this info got totally jumbled up. The clip of the president on the escalator is often mentioned in Simpsons Trump prediction conversations, and it's a jarring shot that looks like the real video. And that's because this clip was made after. The Simpsons team considered the Trump campaign so ridiculous back in 2015 that they had to have some fun with it right away. So they released a TV short by the name of Trump-tastic Voyage. I mean, even the IMDb trivia page has a blurb about this TV spot being misused in prediction conversation. Also in the short, Homer is seen having this magical journey in Trump's hair, and among the chaos is this flipping political sign. Screenshots of this were used as well to say The Simpsons predicted the re-election, but I disagree. Some of the years they flipped through are irrelevant, so it's up to your interpretation, but I'm not considering that accurate enough to call a prediction. And finally, the last of the three big misconceptions is the Eat Up Martha situation. There's a season 6 episode where the kids are briefly sitting at a school assembly. Martin is simply existing as his nerdy self when the bullies have this iconic moment.
Hey Dolph, take a memo on your Newton. Beat up Martin. Bah!
It's a silly little gag that many on the internet confused as a prediction to poor autocorrect, except that it wasn't predicting anything. It was instead a simple commentary on the current world when that episode aired in 1994. The Apple Newton was a real device that the company sold from 1992 to 98 and was a commercial failure due to its design, high price, and, of course, its inaccurate handwriting recognition. So while this Eat Up Martha gag wasn't a prediction, it did positively influence the real world. It's said that when Apple was working on the iPhone keyboard, employees knew that was the part they had to nail. They would even quote Eat Up Martha to each other to signal the feature's importance. So good job, Simpsons, for giving us gags that may seem brief but have exceptional impacts on us all. With the misconceptions out of the way, it's time for our C-tier predictions, which I consider to be more like vague assumptions than spot-on predictions. But of course, they're still worth discussion, especially with this next entry being from the Simpsons movie. The film released in 2007 and was not only a fun watch, but smashed records in the box office. And, as you might assume, the show's fortune-telling nature was present here as well. When Marge discussed her plan to out the government's secret of destroying Springfield, the movie cuts to the headquarters of the National Security Agency, where we see them illegally spying on civilians.
Hi, I'm calling about your meat lovers pizza. I like meat, but I don't know if I'm ready to love again.
It was almost as if the real agency was listening in on the film, since 9 years later, Edward Snowden revealed to the public numerous secret surveillance programs they were operating. This is a pretty cool prediction that The Simpsons made here, but it wasn't the most abstract concept in the world. With situations like Watergate in the past and the more modern climate of things, people unfortunately don't have the most trust in the American government anymore. So the film having this scene isn't the most surprising. What I consider more surprising is the horse meat gag. One episode in particular in the 5th season heavily involves the school. Bart brings Santa's little helper to class for show and tell, and at one point he's picking up the scent on something of interest.
More testicles mean more iron.
Horse parts in food is obviously pretty damn nasty. Like testicles, bro? Really? But what's nastier is that this bled its way into our world. 18 years after the episode in 2013, news outlets started speaking about a story where a European food distributor was selling beef-labeled products that contained horse DNA. This distributor had connections with Birdseye and Taco Bell. I don't consider this the most spot-on prediction since it doesn't have much to do with school cafeteria food, but it is still a very unfortunate parallel. One of the bigger stories in the community is the Lady Gaga Super Bowl prediction. It originates from a 2012 episode that's actually considered one of the worst episodes of the entire show. I didn't know that this was the main take beforehand, but it seems to be due to its glazing of the celebrity for 20 minutes straight, and it's not the only time the show has done this either. Halfway through the episode, the singer dons a unique outfit and floats over her audience. 5 years later, Gaga performs at the Super Bowl in a similar getup and floats over her audience. A few other parallels are present as well, but regardless, there are two things that weaken this for me. For one, the Simpsons version of her has sparks emitting from her chest. If that was done in real life, then that's essentially end of discussion. But even so, with number two, Lady Gaga voiced herself in The Simpsons. Perhaps she just saw the show's fictional performance and thought, damn, some of this is great stuff. I should try it sometime. And another prediction I consider pretty cool was shown in an episode way back in '98, where the family enters a carnival and Bart sees something of interest.
I want to go on the Yardwork Simulator.
This was not a spot-on prediction for a VR game known as Yardwork Simulator, but it's often said that this foreshadowed the craze for Farmville in 2009. For me, I instantly think of the mundane task simulator games. The first VR game I ever played was Job Simulator, and with how that's structured, it's a lot more fun than it sounds. There's also Power Wash Simulator, which found great success in the gaming community as a relaxed space for people to enjoy with friends. And lastly, this is pretty damn close to what's depicted in The Simpsons, Lawn Mowing Simulator. Shockingly, I forgot this existed. It's strange, yet I understand it. At times, games can sound worse in concept than they do in execution. It's up to you if you think this is one of those times. We're now at the B tier with one of the largest episodes in the Simpsons prediction space, Lisa's Wedding, which had 3 predictions in one. So this 1995 story involves the family at a Renaissance fair. Lisa finds a fortune teller who propels the story into the future.
I see an Eastern University in the year 2010. The world has become a very different place.
In this reality, Lisa spends time with the man who is to become her husband, and this futuristic setting of 2010 is chock full of minor futuristic references. And a bigger one in particular originates from a very brief scene.
Oh, blast. Go to plan B.
This being in a fictional 2010 is not far off from 2013, when the real-world smartwatches became more common. However, this isn't a prediction exclusive to The Simpsons. Older media had shown this off for decades, from James Bond to Inspector Gadget. It's still cool, just not unique. The other 2010 prediction is when Lisa does a video call with Marge. Now we're getting to more unique territory. There actually was a video call device way back in the 60s known as the picture phone, but with it being so expensive at that time, it wasn't very popular. However, I will give the episode credit for FaceTime being revealed in 2010, the same year the episode takes place. Now, the best prediction here by far was within the first few minutes where Lisa and her soon-to-be husband go on a plane together. It is then that they show off a visual gag of Big Ben. It seems to have gotten a little redesign compared to the real thing, but if you look to the bottom left, you'll see a prominent skyscraper sticking out in the distance. And, well, this building, the Shard, completed construction in 2012, which is 2 years off from this futuristic 2010 setting. It arguably has the same shape and is even in the correct location, pretty much. This 4-second gag is B tier for sure. And you know what? To be exact, the last 2 predictions of the episode get D tier. They're general predictions that commonly existed outside of the show. Now we're moving on to better predictions at the A tier, with the Beatles. In this very early episode of the show, it's revealed that Marge once sent fan mail to Ringo Starr. She seemed to be a big fan of the celebrity during her younger years.
No, Homer, don't be jealous. I was a schoolgirl. The Beatles were very popular and I had a crush on them.
Likely story.
Deeper into the episode, Ringo is seen responding to all of his fan mail, which has him super far behind. Later on, Marge gets her response from Ringo years later, which ends up inspiring her. And the Beatle actually voiced himself in the episode, which isn't bad considering that the show's only in its 2nd season. And here's the real world parallel. Back in 2013, 2 women received a reply from Paul McCartney after sending him a mixtape 50 years prior. I'll admit that this is kind of similar to the Lady Gaga situation. Like, for all we know, it could have been the Simpsons episode in itself that inspired the event to take place, but even so, it was a different Beatle, and him responding to decades-old fan mail is pretty specific. It's interesting. The first of 3 predicted crimes originates in a story from 1995, where children from the neighboring town of Shelbyville steal a lemon tree from Springfield. Nearly 20 years later, in 2013, a real lemon tree theft took place in Texas, and the owner of the tree had this to say to the thief: "I hope you find yourself stricken with dysentery on a long drive in the middle of nowhere. If you needed my lemons so bad, I hope they serve you well." If you think this theft was strange, which it is, wait until you hear these next 2. Season 10's premiere includes a bizarre get-rich-quick scheme, with Homer stealing cooking grease from various establishments and selling it at a profit. It's a fun episode, by the way, and a prime example of Homer being his silly self.
What is it?
But here we are again. In real life, it was reported that thieves stole grease from restaurants around New York City to sell for a profit. The following data is a little dated, but according to an industry watch group, about $75 million worth of grease is siphoned a year. So maybe we should all try this as a side hustle, huh? Or if you think that's dumb, how about we all sell fake dogs? This is foreshadowing, I'm not insane, I promise. After a major riot in the finale of season 13, Homer decides to start his own police force to help the community. But before making it official, he lists off literally every job he's had before this episode.
You know, I've had a lot of jobs. Boxer, mascot, astronaut, imitation Krusty, baby proofer, trucker, hippie, plow driver, food critic, conceptual artist, grease salesman, carny, mayor, grifter, bodyguard for the mayor, country western manager, garbage commissioner, mountain climber, farmer, inventor, smithers, poochie, celebrity assistant, power plant worker, fortune cookie writer, beer baron, quickie mart clerk, homophobe, and missionary. But protecting Springfield, that gives me the best feeling of all.
If he redid that today, it would probably be 20 minutes long. One of Homer's first arrests under his private police force was Fat Tony and his goons, who were caught gluing cotton balls to ferrets to pass them off as toy poodles. This is our insane 3rd instance of criminals taking their plans from The Simpsons. A man from Catamarca was shocked when he brought his 2 toy poodles to the vet in 2013 and discovered that they were actually 2 groomed ferrets that were literally on steroids. This sounds like a Florida man situation, but no. I guess Argentina is beating them in the groomed ferrets department. Hey you. Remember in 2020 when you were cooped up at home, getting a little loony while you were quarantining, playing Animal Crossing on the Switch? The Simpsons knew that was coming. Okay, not exactly, but the 2020 situation is eerily similar to an episode from 1993. Residents of Springfield order some items that happen to originate from Japan, where an unfortunate factory worker is feeling ill and spreads his flu to the packages, which end up infecting much of Springfield. The government is aware of the situation and is doing everything they can to slow the spread.
Because of the epidemic, I have canceled my vacation to the Bahamas. I shall not leave the city. Hey, you! Get that steel drum out of the mayor's office.
Sorry, man.
There's one scene in particular that especially parallels 2020. Concerned about the vaccine, the residents start a riot, and killer bees are set loose, which echoes the murder hornet scare of the same year. Point is, we all know how 2020 went, and this one episode had a flu-like illness that originated in Asia, a televised message from the local government, a brief scene of rioting and questioning of a doctor, and killer bees on the loose. Separately, these wouldn't have been the wildest predictions, but when they're all packaged in one episode like this, it's a bit more enticing. Enticing like this next prediction on Olympic curling. It's more interesting than it sounds, I promise. In the 21st season, Homer and Marge joined the US curling team for the Winter Olympics. Despite the odds against them, they managed to defeat Sweden and win the gold medal. 8 years later, at the actual Winter Olympics, the funniest thing happens. The US curling team, despite the odds against them, managed to defeat Sweden and win the gold medal. Look at that. Not bad, Simpsons. In a different part of the sports world, early episodes of the show have accurate Super Bowl predictions. Lisa the Greek, a football-themed episode, was released just 3 days before Super Bowl 26, and it accurately predicted that the Redskins would win.
Washington Redskins win Super Bowl 26.
The episode was later redubbed to reflect the teams in subsequent Super Bowls, and Lisa's predictions continued to be accurate. For the next 3 years, using this one episode, the show was like a fortune teller revealing that the Dallas Cowboys would beat the Buffalo Bills in '93, the rematch in '94 would also have the Cowboys on top, and that the 49ers would beat the San Diego Chargers in '95. The Simpsons writers end up getting some extra credit too. In a 1999 episode, there's a team resembling the 49ers winning the Super Bowl in Miami. In 2020, the 49ers made it to Miami, but lost to the Chiefs. Even so, thought it was worth a mention. While the Super Bowl is a huge thing in the States, the World Cup is an international phenomenon, and surprise, surprise, The Simpsons predicted one of those as well, with a little extra oomph. In the episode, You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee, the Simpsons are living their normal lives when a man comes from the World Football Federation wanting to recruit Homer as a referee.
We need a symbol of integrity like yourself.
After his spiel, even the guy himself gets arrested for corruption. Deeper in, the family goes to Brazil and Homer referees the World Cup match, ethically ignoring the bribes and rightly having Germany win the World Cup. As you can imagine, Germany actually won the World Cup that same year, and the following year, the FIFA headquarters was raided by police due to accusations of money laundering, fraud, and, just like Simpsons, bribery. This was very well done. And now it's S-tier time, with this next entry being one of my personal favorites. The 5th episode of Season 10 is a solid one, which includes the family enjoying the local lake, Alec Baldwin with his first wife, who actually voiced themselves, and an iconic visual gag still talked about over 25 years later. When you consider the fact that this released in 1998, this prediction is actually insane. When the writers were making the episode, this was long before the company's acquisition era, with them obtaining Pixar in 2006, Marvel in 2009, Lucasfilm in 2012, and lastly, 20th Century Fox in 2019. It was predicted 20 years beforehand. Wow, dude. And to me, this next prediction gets wilder. Season 28's premiere is special. Its couch gag is a recreation of the Adventure Time intro, and the actual episode contains humor that, to me, is laugh out loud good.
Woo, rebranding.
That just means admitting failure, Dad.
Woo, admitting failure.
The episode involves Lard Lad going through a rebrand, some Mr. Burns flashbacks, and halfway through, an interesting scene that's worth discussion.
Getting ready for Monday? I'm gonna fill a super soaker full of lemonade. Carl's gonna fill one with iced tea, and we're gonna Arnold Palmer Lenny when he walks in.
Arnold Palmer Lenny. You're going to Arnold Palmer Lenny.
Yeah, you see, Arnold Palmer was a golfer.
As you saw, Legendary golfer Arnold Palmer was brought up full name 4 times. Homer explicitly said, "We are going to Arnold Palmer Lenny." Mere hours before the episode premiered, in real life, Arnold Palmer passed away. What are the odds? Actually, the episode was filmed weeks earlier, and it's not like Palmer was struggling in the hospital for months, clearly gonna pass in the immediate future. Just a wild, wild situation, man. Blinky the three-eyed fish is a well-known symbol of The Simpsons, who comedically embodies the wild mutations that can occur when a power plant isn't under control. Obviously, when he first appeared in 1990, he wasn't based on real mutated fish, because three-eyed mutated fish just don't exist, right? You're f***ing wrong. In 2011, fishermen caught a three-eyed wolf fish in Argentina, because this is the land where all Simpsons predictions become real, I guess. They were at a reservoir that feeds near a nuclear power plant. The writers get more bonus points here too, with this 2024 report of a three-eyed cod caught in Greenland. That is madness. Unless some wackos out there were experimenting with fish on purpose for this to become true, that is just dumb luck. Life finds a way, Jurassic Park type shit. To clarify, the only reason this entry didn't get first place is because the fish look nothing like Blinky, and this ranking is all about prediction accuracy. Maybe that's silly, but it's an awesome prediction regardless. And here we are. We've made it to our final episode, Bart to the Future, with its 2 accurate predictions. The first is about President Trump. As I said previously, the escalator depiction was made after it was done in real life, and this still image from the TV short I don't consider a prediction by any means. This episode, however, which released in 2000, was impressive. Here we see the world in 2030, a reality where Lisa is president. The heart of the conversation stems from one little line of dialogue from her.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
So that was an actual prediction. Just like the Disney buying Fox gag, it was a concept that was technically possible, but there wasn't much at the time that showed we were headed in that reality. Adjacently, she happens to be dressed in a way that resembles Kamala Harris too. This even takes place within the next presidential term, right after his re-election. If we were to get our first female president, that would make the prediction only more accurate. So for not only predicting what is arguably one of the most out there presidencies in American history, and that lining up with the time Lisa fictionally becomes president, plus she's matching with the first female vice president of the country, all in one episode, this takes the cake for me as the best prediction. Simpsons has done a great job with everything they've gotten correct. I mean, 30 Harvard grads have written for the show, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised. In all seriousness though, perhaps the show shouldn't be looked upon like a fortune teller. It's simply a long-running show that often comments on our reality, with previous commentary sometimes paralleling what's actually happening. I'm still thinking about those fish, that was crazy.